I'm sorry, there's 3 videos. This is 10A. We're going to go over 10A. It says write without brackets 2A squared. So now in this case, you can kind of, if you want to call it, distribute the 2. You call that 2A times 2A, which is just that, which is just 4 times A squared. You could have started this off by just doing 2 squared times A squared. Okay. What you can't do this if it's 2 plus A squared. That does not turn out to be, this does not equal 2 squared plus A squared. If you don't believe me, plug in some numbers and see if it works. It won't work. This does not equal this. Where was that? That was 10A. Let's do 10E. This is A over 2 cubed. Write it without brackets. So we could do A cubed over 2 cubed. I guess that's it. A cubed over 8. Or you could write that as 1/8 A cubed. That's another way of writing that. Or you could write that as A cubed times 8 to the negative 1. It's the same thing as an eighth. So there's all kinds of ways. It's the same thing to write it. Which way is more useful in your situation? Alright, now next is going to be 12G. 12G, we have write using powers of 2, 3, and or 5. This is 9 to the k over 10. So 9 can be written as 3 squared, and 10 can be written as 10. What can 10 be written as? It's 5 times 2. There, duh. So I believe they're just looking at this as your answer. 3 to the 2k over 2 times 5. So we have 2, 5, and 3. That's what we're looking for. Huh, interesting question. 13. I wanted to do J with you. So 13J says just simplify. So we're working with 13J, so we have to simplify and not have any brackets left. So on the 3 in this scenario is going to get transferred to every piece of this. So this is negative 2 cubed, A squared cubed, all over B squared cubed. It gets kind of distributed, and I don't want to use that word, but there it is. Now negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is negative 8. Here's a power to a power, so you multiply. This is a power to a power, so you multiply. There it is. That's the answer. 13. Let's do 14G. X to the negative 1 times x cubed plus x squared minus x. We're going to, it says expand the brackets and write in simplest form. So we have to distribute that times that. When I multiply with the same, I add the exponent, so negative 1 plus 3, that's that. So this times this is that. This times this is just that, -1 plus 2, and then there's a 1 right there, so -1 plus 1 is 0. So I would probably rewrite that as x squared plus x minus 1. That's how we rewrite that. It's 0. Next is 15f. 18a squared b cubed all over 6ab. Simplify using the laws of exponents is what it says. So we can simplify this. 18 over 6 is 3. We can simplify this. There's two a's on top, one a on the bottom. That leaves an a on top. And we can simplify this. That says that's a 3. There's 3 b's on top, 1 on the bottom. That leaves 2 b's on top. So there it is. I guess that's it. 3ab squared. 15k. Hopefully I don't run out of battery. 12x squared y to the 5th over 8xy squared. In these scenarios, I like to just draw a big fraction sign. I'm going to work 12 and 8. 12 and 8. So you can think of 12 as 3 4s. You can think of 8 as 2 4s. And those just cross off. So you're going to be left with 1 4 on top. Here, you've got x I just did that wrong. 4 times 4 times 4 is not 12. Silly goose. Let me try that again. You got to use base 2. Try that again. 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. My mistake. Sorry. So 12 and 8 here, those cancel, you're going to be left with a 3 and a 2 for the 12 and the 8. And now we keep going. There's 2 x's and 1 x, leaves you with an x. There's 5 y's and 2 y's, leaves you with y to the 3rd. That's how you do 15k. 16. Let's do b. 2x to the -3. It says right without negative exponent. That's a negative exponent. It's a quick fix. Using a fraction, you keep the 2 on top. This is 2 times this. So keep the 2 on top. And then this goes underneath and becomes positive. It's not a -2. There you go. Next, do 16j. This is a squared b to the -1 over c to the -2. Alright, there's an exponent there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a big sign there. A squared can stay on top. B to the -1 gets moved to the bottom. C to the -2 gets moved to the top. And you could write that like that. AC squared times B. Okay, on to the last page. So we're going to get a new page. This is 17b. 17b says 5 over a to the m. And it says write without a fraction. like that. That's all we have to do. We just have to take the m and to make it a negative m and kind of move it up to the top. 17f. It says 3 over a to the 4th minus m. So just like this, all we got to do is take the exponent and make it negative. This is 3 times a to the negative 4 minus m, which is 3 negative 4 plus m when you distribute the negative, which I would probably write as 3a to the m minus 4. That's how I would write that. It's the same thing. 18. I'm going to do g. It says write without fractions. We got 7x minus 4 over x, that's a fraction, plus 5 over x squared, that's a fraction. So we can just put that as 7x is good. That gets moved up and becomes a negative. This gets moved up and becomes a negative. 19, coming down to the wire here, 19f. That's right without fractions. There we have it. This is going to be particularly useful when we get to the calculus section. Now, you have to think of this as this. This denominator is to each term. This is a term, that's a term, that's a term. So you're taking all of these and dividing by x. So you got to think of it like that. And then that over x. And then that over x. Which leaves you with x squared over x. Think of this as a 1. 2 minus 1 is just 1. This is just 1. And then this is an x in the bottom, which we can bring it up to the top and call it a negative 1. So there it is. You don't need to write the 1 as the power. That's implied. 19k. 16 minus 3x plus x cubed over x squared. Once again, the denominator goes to all three terms. So that's 16 over x squared minus 3x over x squared plus x cubed over x squared. That's the same thing. And then from here, this is 16x to the negative 2. Here you've got 1 on top, 2 on the bottom. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. 3 and 2. Not x to the negative 1, just x. 3 minus 2 is 1, so that's where we'd write that. Okay, last number at least, number 20b. 5 minus 4x over x to the negative 2. It says write without a fraction. So what this means is 5 minus 4x. Think of the top, and then how do you get rid of a negative exponent? You can move it to the top, but it becomes a positive now. And so now you have to distribute the x squared like that. So when I distribute the x squared, that becomes that. Last one I'm going to do is 20f. X cubed minus 3x plus 6 all over x to the negative 3. Same idea. Think of this whole thing, and then we move this to the top. And then we can distribute. So that becomes x to the 3 plus 3, that'd be 6, minus 3x to the 4th plus 6x cubed. Wow.